So before I get into anything right now, what I'm about to get ready to say, I was originally going to wait till Friday, but I don't think I want to wait until Friday to bring this out because I think this all needs to be said. And we already know who the three characters are, so I'm not even going to just play around. It's got to be Squidina, Tommy, and basically Angelica. And I want to say this right now. I'm definitely excited to get this game, but I was expecting a little bit more variety from the roster. I'm not sure if I'm the only one. And you can say what you want to say about the roster and which characters that you prefer, but I'm a little nervous because I'm thinking we're probably not going to get any DLC for the game for Kart Racers 3. Now I came back on here tonight. You guys are going to probably be able to see this tomorrow, most likely. So I wanted to basically let loose in this video because I think that we're missing so many different shows that could be represented in this game, and that's why I was so excited about hearing about the reveal and seeing this game be something realistic and come to fruition, be a real game to come out for 2022, since we're getting a new SpongeBob game next year that I can't wait to play as well. I'm getting the Turbo Edition for this game, so that's why I came on here tonight to start talking about these characters and just this roster in general. I think it's a little bit lackluster because we still have some shows that are missing, and this is called Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. Before I even get started, I just want to say that I definitely am excited to play this game. I'm getting the Turbo Edition because I don't want to miss out on characters like Zuko, who's a playable racer. We're gonna open up the roster on this game. We're not gonna play any sort of racer or anything like that. I'm just gonna do a Grand Prix, something like that. I did everything that's in the game, and just to tell a little story real quick. Long story short, I didn't really play the Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3 games when they dropped when they first came out and dropped on the release dates, and I don't have the release dates memorized and all that, but I played them in reverse on the channel. I played the second one and then I played the first one. I played the second one first because it was the newest game, but I was playing all different types of racing games, from Mario Kart, Crash Team Racing with CTR, basically Need for Speed, Burnout. It goes on and on. And if you ever heard of this game before, it's called Micro Machines. I played all those other different old racing games from way back then. Diddy Kong Racing, legendary titles like that. They need to come out with a sequel for the Nintendo Switch and more that I miss. It's just so many games like that that I really treasure and just grew up playing. Diddy Kong Racing to go head to head with Mario Kart. I love playing that game for the Nintendo 64. It goes on and on. So we're just gonna open up the roster. I did everything that's in the game. I completed the second one and the first one. And then when I got into these games, it's so much fun playing. And something else, just there's a little bit of something that I really like. I like that Reptar Ruins is making a return. It has one of the best soundtracks. It's one of my favorite tracks in the game. I love the tracks in this, and I hope to see more. And I already talked about my tracks wish list that I'll also bring up at going towards the end of the game, towards the end of the video, of course. Like Royal Woods, I want to see that make a return, and so much more. But we're just gonna pick anything, and let's open up the roster. And the Turbo Edition is gonna include Zuko, so that's why I definitely recommend getting it if you want to play, if you're a fan of Zuko and just the Avatar series. And I don't agree with the fact that it's behind a paywall, but I think that might be a sign that we're probably not going to get DLC. That's what makes me a little nervous. So I'm not sure how that's going to play out. If they're going to announce it, maybe we're going to get some future updates with new Grand Prix. And I'm thinking they can do DLC packs, character packs. And speaking of those packs, I'm thinking the Turbo pack is probably going to be something that's going to probably come down in later on in the future. In the near future, we might see a Turbo pack, and that's something else I wanted to bring to the video today and talk about it, because maybe that's gonna probably be the DLC for this, because that's probably why they did that for the Turbo Edition. Let's add in a Turbo Edition that's gonna have two playable racers, Zuko in the alternate skin of Raphael, which I think doesn't even belong in the game and part of the roster as a separate character slot in the first place. And then you have Purple Reptar, which is absolutely ridiculous, taking a separate slot when all you have to do is basically, see how it says at the bottom of the screen? Look at the bottom middle, says options, press the square button to open up the options menu, you can have an additional button with R1 or L1, or basically the shoulder buttons on your controller or whatever platform that you basically play on, to change the skin of the character, to alternate the looks of the character that you use, even if it's your main racer that you want to play in the game. You can do that with a flip of a button. Within the press of a button, you didn't have to make him a character slot and do a Mario Kart. Be original and come out with other characters that are deserving to be on the roster. So I'm about to get ready to get started and start talking about this, and it's just, I think that's just a major problem that I don't like. It's about this game, because there's so many missed opportunities for you to get these characters that are loved and beloved shows that existed way before SpongeBob even hit the spotlight. Way before SpongeBob existed, we had all these iconic shows that was playing and just hitting the stage and just airing on TV. It's not a SpongeBob game. It's not about the TMNT, the Ninja Turtles. It's not SpongeBob Kart Racers 3. It's not Ninja Turtles or Turtle Kart Racers 3 or Rugrats Kart Racers 3. It'll be different. Like the Smurfs game that's coming out to the Nintendo Switch. Do you expect to see any other characters for that game to cross over into the world of the Smurfs universe? No. But you see nothing but Smurfs. If it was a SpongeBob racing game, then it would be nothing. It would consist of nothing but SpongeBob characters. It would consist of nothing but the Ninja Turtle characters and Leatherhead and all the other characters, Casey Jones and more. But I just don't like it. So looking up the roster that I just pulled up in the background, you can head over there to the website yourself. I already know who the characters are. It's gonna be Squidina, which is nice to see from the Patrick Star show. But I like that it's a new face. That's what I was looking for. And just to talk about it, I was looking for 3 new characters, new reps to get represented on the roster. We're seeing the same shows. It's been an abundance of characters. It's oversaturated with SpongeBob, TMNT, and Rugrats taking up the slots on the roster. That's something that I don't like about this roster. Now, if with the unknown, we don't even know if we're gonna get DLC, but it's looking like we're probably not gonna get it. This is probably going to be the whole roster for the game itself. It's probably going to just get dropped. I'm not sure if they're going to update the game with Grand Prix, with packs, with character packs. They could come out with character packs that could be implemented into the game. You got a turbo pack, that's probably something that they're going to probably do. For those, I can already see the post already right now, and I was talking about this earlier on the stream. I can see it right now. For those who did not purchase the Turbo Edition for Kart Racers 3, can now be able to purchase the Turbo Pack sold separately on the PlayStation Store and the eShop and whatever platform that you choose to play. That's your cup of tea that you play the most on. You could purchase that Turbo Pack now. So that's probably going to be something like that for additional future posts that's going to be posted by the devs themselves. But you don't have to start. You don't have to stop right there and deal with this roster with Squidina and Tommy and Angelica. Those are the 3 characters guaranteed. It's not going to be 3 other characters. And look what they did. We already knew it was part of the Ninja Turtles because they were in elite screenshots. They were already in the leaks. Tommy and Angelica are already part of the roster because you already got to see Chucky and Susie. And by the way, I'm glad Susie is also a playable racer now, because she deserves to be one. But it's just too many reps of the same shows getting represented in the game. And that's what I was hoping. That made me even more excited about the Kart Racers 3, because I thought it was going to be more shows getting represented. But you have basically 5 playable characters for TMNT. You got the Turtles in April. Then you have SpongeBob taking up all the room for the universe. SpongeBob, Patrick, Squidward, and Sandy. And then you're going to have Squidina joining in. So you have 5 SpongeBob characters. And now you're going to have 5 Ninja Turtle characters. I'm talking about playable racers. I'm not thinking about the chiefs or the crew members themselves. So that tells me most of those other 90 crew members must be characters that are probably deserving to be playable racers. But they chose them as probably crew members. It's pretty scary. And it just sucks that all the same shows have taken all the slots. It's oversaturated with SpongeBob characters and Rugrats and TMNT. And I'm not thinking about the ratings. I'm not thinking about the mascot itself. This is called Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. See what I'm saying? It's not SpongeBob Kart Racers 3. Nothing against the shows. I love watching these shows and grew up watching them. But you gotta admit, there's other characters that deserve to be playable racers as well. Heifer's not gonna probably even make it into the racing game. He's probably gonna be a chief. So he's probably gonna suffer the same fate as Shredder. But it goes on and needs to be said that you got all these other shows that's represented. And look, you can even take a look on the website. You got all these other shows. It's nice to see Jimmy Neutron finally get in. And you got Cindy Vortex finally making a debut into the game for the roster. The character models look good. But why does Purple Reptar have to be a separate slot? That just ruins and destroys all the chances of other shows and other characters to get represented in the game. Just like I said before, this is Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. You would think that they would probably be able to consider expanding the roster. So I have no idea what's going on with that. Purple Reptar, you can definitely be able to change his skin within the push of a button. It just shows, it's like you can come up and get with any other characters. You send the same invitation to you just go back and into the same universe and just the same world and take from those characters that you already have, and it just basically ends the roster. There's no Timmy Turner. There's no LT Gray. There's no Chalk Zone sort of rep. There's no kind of Rocket Power rep and all these other shows that I like watching that needs to be getting up in the game. And I don't care about, even if people are not much fans of Rocket Power, you cannot say that that show cannot get represented. It's a Nickelodeon show that people love and love watching. You finally come out with a Real Monsters rep with Ablina. You got one rep from the show. And I'm gonna just say this: I'd rather take JoJo Siwa. Doesn't matter what the opinions are. JoJo doesn't belong. It's a live action character. It still makes the roster unique because you have a live action character. Who's it to say you can't get any other live action characters? Like Nickelodeon All Star Brawl, that's gonna probably end up getting one. But you rather have a Purple Reptar over a JoJo Siwa? Get real. And it's just things like that. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Purple Reptar getting in for a slot, and you couldn't get LT Gray and Rudy or Snap or any other Nickelodeon shows, a Wild Thornberrys rep. You don't even have a Wild Thornberrys rep to get into this game. You don't have Nigel Thornberry, Eliza, and all these other characters. It's so many shows as told by Ginger. You have all the variety of characters in the world, and you couldn't get any other character to get represented into the game. It's not about the Nickelodeon games in general. It's just, this is called Kart Racers 3, Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. You would think that they would have way more characters than this. Not it just being oversaturated by SpongeBob, Ninja Turtle reps, and Rugrats. You got all these other shows that people want to see. Not just about Fairly Odd Parents. It's other shows that exist. Did you forget about the NCU? Or did you choose to limit yourself with the same characters from the same shows to flood the roster? It's just oversaturated with the same shows getting represented, and it basically leaves out the other shows to not get represented. It doesn't matter whether you had plans of getting DLC. Those other shows are not even going to be able to get represented because you chose to go back into the same, just to play the same card over and over. See what I'm saying? So the lack of variety with this roster is definitely killer. I really don't like it that much. But just again, Squidina from the Patrick Star show, didn't watch too much of the show. But guess what? The whole point is, it's a new face. But that's what I was looking for with these characters. You don't even have to wait till Friday. You already know it's Squidina. And then you already know it's Tommy and Angelica. I like the shows. I like Angelica a little bit more than Tommy. But it's just things like that that's a major problem with the roster. I was hoping for more variety. You got all these shows that are missing to get represented. And even if they crew members, or it still probably counts as a representation. Those characters deserve to be playable drivers. And then you could take the friends and foes and the villains and make them crew members, so it gets a little bit more representation. Just for example, you got one Danny Phantom character behind the wheel, but you got characters like Vlad Plasmius that could be a playable racer, Tucker and Sam, but Sam is a crew. Sam is a chief. Tucker is a crew member. See how you could play that? You could play that card, bring out Rudy behind the wheel, and have Snap as a chief, and you got Penny as a crew member. See the representation? You could start, they can do stuff like that. So I just don't think it's going to get any DLC at this point. That Turbo Pack is probably going to eventually be something that's probably going to happen. You got people, you already got to see Lynn. She could be a playable racer to join. Lincoln and Lucy Loud. Some people want to see more of the Louds to be able to be playable. Some people think the twins, Phil and Lil, could be behind it. But Susie becoming a racer, that's pretty cool too. Phoebe can't be playable. Somebody want to see Dib. You got all these characters that could be in. PTM is a playable racer now, which is awesome to see. But you have all those other missing shows. I definitely was looking for more for this roster. I am excited for the voice acting. I want to see what else gets represented. But this is not about SpongeBob and just the same 3 shows. It makes me think of the Nickelodeon Kart Racers 1 game. Kart Racers 1 had SpongeBob. You represented all just 4 shows. You had SpongeBob, Rugrats, Ninja Turtles, and Hey Arnold. How did you come out with a Nickelodeon Kart Racers game, the first game, and you only thought about 4 shows? So you say you didn't have any, you couldn't go into your bag to get other characters represented for the shows that exist, that people love and enjoy and still watch to this day? And just even from that, I'm surprised Jimmy Neutron didn't even make it into the first game. Jimmy Neutron wasn't even in the second game that I'm playing right now. It's like, I don't even know what's going on. So that's what I just wanted to talk about. It's just like, I wish there was more characters to be represented. And then the fact that we probably not even going to get the DLC, it just kills the chances of all these characters that we could have. And it's like most of the characters that are basically in this game got dragged over to take the slots. We didn't need all those different characters, to all those same characters to get over. Because just if you take a look at this game, at the game roster, just taking a look. Of course, Shredder's not. Just replace Shredder with April O'Neil. They're gonna get They're gonna get shown. Tommy and Angelica. Arnold, Gerald, Helga, JoJo's back in. Heifer, you take out Heifer out. You take Heifer out because he's not going to be in as a playable racer. Zim, Gur, Cora, Aang, Ren, and Stimpy. Cat Doll, and Danny Phantom. So the major changes, you just have April on your screen and you eliminate and subtract, or basically send Heifer to the shadow realm from being playable, and you basically have the roster, well, part of the roster for Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3, and then you put an additional Reptar with the same picture and that sneaky smile and just turn them purple, and then Raphael as an additional alternate skin with an additional slot to make them spooky with a gray skin. You see what I'm saying? So it's things like that I just don't like. So I really hope that they do updates. I don't know what y'all think. Am I the only one that thinks that this roster deserves way more variety than we already have? I just can't be the only one. I want to see Timmy Turner, Fairly Odd Parents, and Chalk Zone, El Tigre, or the Adventures of Manny Rivera, who's the guy behind the suit for El Tigre, and all these other shows that deserves to be in and get represented. I think it's just a missed opportunity for them, for all these characters that people want to see. And it's just shows that's missing. I don't know. I think this roster could be a lot better than what it is. That's why I was hoping for DLC. But I don't know what their plans are. Just to be real, I just think the Turbo Pack is basically going to be that DLC, the additional characters that you miss out on, and then later on, it's going to be available to everyone for purchase, sold separately. So if you choose to get the standard edition, you'll get access to it eventually to purchase, and then you download it, you buy it, you download it, and you install it, and then it updates on your application. But I'm looking for updates. I'm looking for more content for the game, and that's why I hope that it has the challenges, the boss fights, and unlockable characters instead of just having everybody available right off the bat. They didn't really have to be like Mario Kart with the alternate skins. Why aren't the other characters getting alternate skins? SpongeBob can have one, and everybody else on the roster can have one too. Jimmy and Cindy can't have an alternate skin. They can't have none. They can't get one. Why did you come out with an alternate skin, a silly alternate skin like Purple Rut's Heart, and an alternate Leonardo? Well, Raphael from the Ninja Turtle. You got all those different additional characters. It's like 6 characters if you include his alternate skin. Leonardo, Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, April, and the alternate skin for Raphael. That's 6 characters. You don't need all that. You don't need that. That's just way too much, and that's just oversaturated. So I'm just being honest. That's how I feel about that. The roster. I just really was expecting more. That's why I didn't want, I'm just not trying to be mean, I didn't want it to be Tommy and Angelica. You already have Rugrats reps. You stop right there. You put a couple characters in to represent that show. And if you want to bring the other ones out, have them be unlockable, or maybe they can come out at a later date to get added as DLC. Come out with a DLC pack, character packs. That's an idea. Character packs for Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3, and then you get a Grand Prix updates, free brand new Grand Prix, but you pay for the characters that come out. Get the cart, and then maybe an alternate skin. You get the character, the alternate skin, the cart, and then maybe the unlockable playable stage, if any, if he or she has one. They can do it like that. See, that I wouldn't have a problem. If it's another SpongeBob character, TMNT rep, doesn't matter. It's a DLC, and it's going to be continuous characters. That's why I'm hoping they say there will be more in the near future later on over the course of time during the game's release, of course, for the 14. There'll be new characters that people can look forward to, that, like Timmy Turner, for example. That'll be an awesome season to come out with it. That's all for the main roster, but we're going to have new DLC characters, and characters in other shows get represented, like the Fairly Odd Parents and many others, to get into the game in other shows to get a spotlight. They can't get a spotlight, but they're also part of the NCU. So you kick them to the curb to keep digging into the same worlds that you already have represented. This is Nickelodeon Kart Racers 3. It is not about just these characters. This is the NCU. But that's all I'm saying. So, I don't know what you guys think. I just wanted to bring this out today. It's definitely looking like it's going to be Tommy and Angelica to join in with Squidina, and just with the carts and being in the game. Can't just have Chucky in the game, Chucky and Susie. You're going to have those iconic characters from Rugrats and lovable characters like Tommy and Angelica. But where are the other characters getting represented? When are those other characters going to get represented in these platform games, in these console games, on PlayStation 5 for this next generation of gaming era? But that's all I'll say for now. So I guess we'll see. But I'm happy with the character models and how they look. But I really hope that they don't stop there with the 3 characters. I hope they bring more to the table. I don't know what you guys think, but it's looking like it. We're probably going to see a turbo pack later on, so people who missed out on those different versions of the turbo edition, to get Zuko and Ozai, Shredder, and then the alternate skin of Raphael, the slime parts, and the paint, or the paint skins, stuff like that. What is that? The paint jobs, stuff like that. This didn't really have that many. Let's see. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 19, 20. It's like 20. But you have 90 crew members. I think most of those crew members with 90 plus crew members or more, they gotta be from those other shows, unfortunately. But you could have had more playable racers to join in, and in those other shows that get extra representations and extra reps, you could take from their friends or foes or protagonists or antagonist characters from those universes, from those different shows to be added. Make them a playable racer, and they can just continue to expand the roster. You don't have to stop there. So I hope they don't. Hopefully they will be able to add more to the game with new updates. But I just feel like it's just gonna come out on the 14th, and it's not gonna get any other further update.